It's Tuesday, 21st of October 2025, and this is chat number 3, and I'm cooking these. So I'm chatting while I'm cooking these. Okay? I'm putting them in the air fryer, and first I'll say that, well, I'll not say much about it, but Prince Andrew, you know, he's not doing well at the moment, you know, I'd imagine. I just can't believe. I've just read a bit. I don't know much about it, but I've just read a bit, and it's just shocking. Has that book come out yet? You know, I think it's going to be shocking. The bits I've heard. I don't know if I got it from Grok or Google. What do you call the Google one again? Gemini. I don't know if it's because I looked at there. I just read it in a, you know. I was shocked, really. I didn't realise, because the first time this sort of came about was 10 years ago or something, wasn't it? And just fizzled away. But yeah, has the book come out yet? Because when the book comes out, I think it's going to be a really pretty bad time for quite a few people. Now on to story number 2. A YouGov poll today has Greens on 15%. I'm going to squirt a bit of oil on this. I don't know if that helps. Yeah, the Greens are on 15% in Britain, and that's their highest in YouGov. YouGov are very sort of socially conservative. They got the 2024 election badly wrong. They had Labour far too high. They had them at 39% or something. I think Labour got about 35%. Some say 34%. Some say 33%. In 2024. And in this new poll, Reform are at 26%, which is quite low for them. You know, they've been a lot higher. I'm sure it said 26%. Yeah, 27% maybe. But they've been up at 35% now. It does feel that Reform are sort of, you know, they've stalled a little bit. I'm not sure why. One thing I'm wondering is if maybe the people are waiting for Advance UK Party to come along, you know, because they're not in any of these polls yet. You know, and I think a lot of Reform voters are going to go to them. And to me it looks like it might be between Reform versus the Greens, but we've also got Jeremy Corbyn's part coming, but maybe they've missed the boat, you know. So, but I think that's good, because it means we've got 2 on the right and 2 on the left. You know, I'm talking about real right and left. I'm not talking about centre right or centre left, you know. So you've got your party and the Greens on the left, and on the right you've got Reform and Advance, which I think is fantastic. Personally, I think we should have proportional representation. Personally, I don't even believe in parties and party hampers. I think we should be referendums all the time, like in Switzerland. But yeah, if you're going to have parties, it's got to be proportional representation, and there's got to be plenty of choice, you know, to sort of get you to as close as you feel, maybe in general or on one issue in particular. So that's point number 2. And point number 3 is I just want to talk about music for a minute, and I want to just talk about the Beatles, the Sex Pistols, the Stone Roses, and Bob Marley. That's probably my 4 pillars of my musical brain. You know, you could add other ones too, like the Rolling Stones, but I think I prefer the Beatles. And the Beatles are so big still, you know. I mean, it feels as if they're even bigger now, in a way, because it's been like, what was it, 63 years since they had their first hit. That was in Britain. It was Love Me Do, I think, in November 1962. They didn't have a hit till January, I think, 64 in America. I Want to Hold Your Hand, which is one of my favourite songs, you know. I mean, all their songs, all their hits, basically are fantastic, I think. They're just an incredible band, and you can't even label them as one type of band, you know, they're like a genre of their own. And then the Sex Pistols were just, fantastic, raw power, energy, best lead lead pop singer, not pop, lead singer ever. you know, because he's got a unique singing voice. Nobody else sings like him at all, and it's totally free, you know, totally liberated. And then the only other band at the Jam, I forgot the Jam, and the Smiths. I would put them in there as well. And the Stone Roses for the groove, you know, and just the lovely melodic singing. They're like, to me, people feel about Oasis. I feel that about Stone Roses. I know a lot of people feel that about both bands, but I think Stone Roses are the perfect ones for that sort of vibe, the sort of football fan, wallflower vibe, you know. And then Bob Marley, I'd put him in as well, because I mean, reggae in general is fantastic, you know. It's almost, you can't get a bad reggae song. Even just any old reggae song is going to be quite interesting. And then when you're writing reggae songs, you can't run out of ideas really, because it's basically almost the same ideas all the time. We'll just write about Jah, how great Jah is, and you know, or the herb, or you know, that sort of thing. Very universal, you know, inclusive. In reggae, they use the kitchen sink really. They use everything, every type. I mean, they get trombones in there, steel drums, you know. I mean, something like the Pistols had a trombone in them, it totally ruined them, you know, as a band, you know. So really, it's amazing. It's so roots. Roots is a good word for it, really. You know, you've got roots reggae. So Beatles, Pistols, Stone Roses, Bob Marley, and I'd probably put the Jam in there as well, the Smiths. And it is amazing that for me there's been no artist, musical artist, since 1989 of any interest really, you know. I just thought it would just keep going, you know, but it seems to have sort of withered, really. And on to point 4, now we're on to the wealth tax, because Zach Polanski's talking about this a lot for the Greens. And the Greens, his idea is 1% on those with £10 million worth of assets, and he's saying on billionaires it would be 2%, and I think that's yearly. And his argument is that these people just make wealth out of nothing, you know, interest in the bank. So whereas workers, they're actually doing something, you know, and if hardly get anything, and all their money, the workers' money, is getting recycled in the economy as well. Whereas these people are just hoarding, you know, they've just got too much wealth. It's not envy of the wealth, it's they've just got too much when you get too much. I mean, we're not a poor country, but it feels like we're poor, because 4 families will get more money than 20 million of the population of the UK, you know, so that's just ridiculous. And it does feel like the wealth tax idea is coming along, because Labour haven't rolled it out for their emergency budget in November. They said they weren't going to do it, but now they're saying we don't know yet, so they may come up with something. I think it'll be pretty soft on the billionaires though. It's just daft really, you know. And the good thing is, the patriotic millionaires, you should follow them in X. It's a group of patriotic millionaires basically. People, I think they've got over £10 million in assets, and they want to pay more in tax, you know, because tax is seen as a bad thing, but it should be seen as a good thing. It's a social, you know, the infrastructure and social fund, I would call it something like that rather than tax, which is quite a aggressive word, you know. Yeah, and they want to pay more, so any time they're on TV, they make a right fool of whoever, because we've always been traditionally told we must tax these people less, you know, billionaires and stuff, so that they can trickle down and they can create new businesses and all that. You know, we had that guy from Chemical Plumbers or something, he was on Sky News, and they had a patriotic millionaire talking as well. I mean, it was pretty easy to watch who was a sensible one, you know, patriotic millionaire. I'll have a coffee as well. I'm just checking here, I'll put that there. I mean, that may even be ready. Yeah, I've got it. Oh, I've got it for a while. Yeah. And then, see, I think for all these things, you need Emperor's New Clothes person to come on, and that's what Zach Polanski's doing with this wealth thing, because all the thirds and stature is the wealthy are poorly done to, you know. They're poor wealthy and all that, you know. They must be allowed to keep everything. They must be allowed to just keep this money just not doing anything, stagnating, you know, in their accounts or whatever. Yeah, that sort of thing. So it's nothing to do with wealth envy or anything like that. It's just to do with common sense, you know. So, yeah, that's a bit of me on that. I'm running out of things to say now. So I'll go on again about my tortoise relaxation therapy. And here I'll do it here. I'll bring this over. Tortoise relaxation therapy. Your video at 0.2 speed. Tortoise, slow down. Yeah, that's the sort of things that's going through my head just now. Then I'll see if I can find anything else to talk about. Now, I can't really see anything apart from Reform are on track to win the Welsh Senedd next year. There's a by-election this week in the Welsh Senedd in Caerphilly, and Reform look as if they got a great chance of winning it. It's either them or Plaid Cymru. So Wales has already gone Reform by lots of it. Yeah, Plaid Cymru seems to be their competition rather than Labour. I don't know. Yeah. Well, I'll just go back to talking about music, you know. So yeah, the Beatles are fantastic. Yeah, just the way they evolved was incredible as well. I think the 60s was the best decade ever, you know, in terms of technology and liberation, because if you look at the Beatles, they started in black and white cameras, and it was the big, dead heavy ones, and then midway through it was colour TV. They went out and colour TV, you know. So just the technology and the way society became liberal and you know, free, you know, because when you think of it, teenagers didn't really exist before, say, rock and roll. It was only then. I don't know what they wore before that, you know. But yeah, music's been so important, but everything just liberated in the 60s. So I think the 1960s is the sort of big bang, big change. I think the decade before then would have been, well, the 1920s maybe, you know, maybe all that Charleston stuff, but I don't know. But and then in the 1950s you had rock and roll. I think in Britain, I asked Google Gemini this, when did rock and roll take off in Britain? And I think it was around about 1956 with Bill Haley and the Comets, Rock Around the Clock, which is a fantastic song, you know, so I'm not surprised. Ringo Starr always says that he saw that at a cinema in the Isle of Man, and the teenagers ripped the place up basically, because it's just the excitement, you know. So I've run out of milk, but that might even be even better, I don't know. Yeah, that's nice. At the moment I'm listening to Bob Marley, Give Thanks and Praises. I keep listening to that, it's such a good song. But most of the songs are really good, you know. Could You Be Loved, I really like that one. And the thing I'm watching just now is John Lennon's 85th birthday party celebrations in Strawberry Fields Park in Central Park in New York, because on his birthday, the anniversary, and the anniversary of his death, a big group of Beatles fans get there and they play lots of stuff. It's worth watching on YouTube if you look out for it. It's just a fantastic get together. So John's birthday was October 9th, I think, so that was like 2 weeks ago or something. I've been watching the Strawberry Fields stuff from New Central Park on YouTube, and it's fantastic. Yeah, so that's something to look forward to and all that, you know. Yeah, these are pretty good, these. Everything's went really well. I might add some other sauce. Oh, it's alright. Right. Well, that's just about it, folks. Another fantastic video in the bag. Number 3. Thumbnail. Almost literally. Okay. Goodbye, folks. Goodbye.